They came quietly, riding the grain sacks and hiding in the hulls of ships. Rats were never invited, yet they followed humans wherever food and shelter could be found. In ancient ports and crowded streets, their dark eyes watched from the cracks of walls, unnoticed and unchallenged. But it wasn't the rats alone that doomed kingdoms. It was what they carried. Fleas clung to their fur, feeding on their blood, and within those tiny fleas lived an enemy too small to see. Yersinia pestis. When the rats multiplied, so did the death that traveled with them. From market stalls to royal courts, the creatures of the shadows became silent messengers of plague, toppling armies and stealing lives faster than any sword. The year was 1350, and the Christian banners of Castile fluttered outside the walls of Gibraltar. King Alfonso XI, stern and ambitious, had brought his army to push further. As he commanded from his royal pavilion, an unseen enemy marched through his camp. Soldiers collapsed first, racked with fevers and grotesque swellings beneath their arms and in their groins. Then the pestilence reached the king himself. Within days, Alfonso was burning with fever. His attendants whispered prayers while his physicians looked on in despair. For they had seen the same signs in countless others. No sword nor fortress could protect him. By 26th March 1350, the King of Castile and Leon lay dead, another victim of the same shadow that was swallowing cities and kingdoms across the continent. To his subjects, the king's death was a sign of divine wrath. Some whispered it was God's punishment for sin. Others feared poisoned wells or cursed air drifting across the land. Few could imagine the true culprit, a tiny bacterium named Yersinia pestis, carried by fleas that fed on black rats. The rats rode on ships, lived in grain stores, and scurried beneath the very floors of homes. Each flea bite was a secret dagger, delivering death unseen. The disease could appear in 3 terrifying forms. The bubonic plague produced the dreaded swellings called buboes. The septicemic form blackened the skin and killed in hours. And the pneumonic plague, the most horrifying of all, filled the lungs and spread by cough, passing from one breath to another. People had no knowledge of microbes or transmission. They only knew that death arrived swiftly, and it spared no class or crown. Communities fought back with what little knowledge they had. Town gates slammed shut, isolating villages from travelers. Ships were made to wait at anchor for 40 days, thus the word quarantine. Fires were lit in the streets to burn away the bad air. Wealthy nobles fled to remote estates, thinking distance would grant safety. And yet, the plague crept after them. Rats followed the grain wagons. Fleas clung to clothing and blankets. A man who seemed healthy at sunrise could collapse before dusk, leaving his family already infected. Even those who locked themselves away discovered that the invisible killer found its path inside. For the ordinary villager, the world became a place of dread. Priests refused to enter plague houses, leaving families to die without last rites. Graveyards overflowed, and pits were dug to receive the endless dead. Some people turned to flagellation, whipping their own backs in hope that God would take pity. Others clutched talismans or burned herbs to ward off foul vapors. But no ritual or remedy worked. The plague advanced across Europe, Asia, and the Middle East, erasing entire towns from the map. Parents buried children, and children buried parents, often unaware they too carried the infection. To many, it felt as if the end of the world had truly come. From the death of a king in Gibraltar to the countless nameless graves scattered across continents, the story was the same. Sudden fever, swelling, terror, and silence. The victims never knew the name of their killer, never saw the tiny flea, never imagined the microscopic bacterium that history would later call Yersinia pestis.